Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the late start to the final round of the ROM Season 2 here at Azerbaijan. Had a few technical difficulties trying to sign in, but we've got the stream going now. Hopefully we'll get to the end of qualifying. Get the end of qualifying in and yeah, see how people are doing in qualifying. We'll see how many races we have today. So, whilst we're waiting, here we go. We've got currently with 3 minutes 40 left. CSR Pez currently on pole with a 37.9, with AB Drazi in second, D-Money third, RMB Ford in fourth, Tommy Real, Westerns, Lucky Lambert, RM James and Ludlow, with Yanni rounding out the top 10, and we have Maitland, Snipes, Lorne, and Aki. It looks like he's out of the session without a time. So we've got a few permutations for this final round of the championship as well. A few constructors battles and drivers battles to be decided today. Let's just go through them before we hit the back end of qualifying. I say we've got in the drivers, we've got a battle for fourth going on. We have CSR Pez, Lorne and James all separated by 8 points in this final round. So that'll be very interesting to watch with how the race pans out. And in the constructors, got a battle for the top step between Mercedes and McLaren, separated by 19 points with Mercedes in front. And then we've got a battle for third as well, with Ferrari ahead of Racing Point by 22 points. So that'll be another interesting factor, and especially for McLaren with Aki out of the session, it'll be extremely hard for them to overhaul Mercedes. But you never know, as this is Azerbaijan, anything can happen. Right, let's get everything up and then let's get going. Alright, on board here with Drazi, who's on an out lap. So we've got D-Money possibly starting a lap here, or is he just finishing? No, he's just coming into the pits. Okie dokie. And that'll probably be D-Money's session over. So we've got Snipes, the only man out on track on the medium tyre, so see how he does here. I think he's on a lap, or is this an out? This is definitely a lap for Snipes. Not an out lap. We've got a lot of drivers on an out lap here. Let's see how we've got a yellow in sector 2. So we just slow cars on their out lap. See how Snipes does through the final couple of corners. So coming through the final kink, and now it's just pretty much a straight kink to the line. Straight drive to the line. Will Snipes get himself in the top 10? Ludlow has just retired. Maitland's got a grid penalty with Ludlow. Okay. And Snipes gets just into the top 10. But will Yanni and Maitland be able to out-qualify him? Let's see. Pez has retired. We've got B Ford here on a lap. See how the title protagonist does. We've just got Maitland now retiring, being disqualified from the session. So Drazi and D-Money look like they didn't quite make the flag for their final lap. B Ford with the powerful first sector here. Can he claw those 3/10 behind Pez and get into pole position here. So there's a very nice line through the castle. Saying Tommy Real has just left. So we'll try and get him back before the race starts. Let's just watch B Ford come into the line here. What will his lap time be? He does not improve. And he's in 4th place. Oh no, he does. There we go. Quickly. And what's going on here? B Ford's now left the session apparently. So we might have a restarted session here, with a couple of drivers seeming to be disconnected from the session. I'm not entirely sure. So there's the final qualifying standings. We've got B4, Westons and Drazzy on row 2, D-Money, Tommy Real row 3, Lambert and James row 4, Ludlow Snipes row 5, Lorne and Yanni row 6, and on the final row, Aki and Maitland. And does look like we're having a reset lobby here, as a few drivers seem to have lost connection. And we will get on with the race as soon as we get everybody back into the same lobby. Right, we've got a new lobby going, so once we get everybody back, we will get back into the race and I'll go through the grid once more. And again, I'll go through the championship permutations, and hopefully we'll have a good race. Right, looks like we are ready to get going now. Got the countdown for the session, so once we're in there, I'll go through the grid and all of the permutations for the constructors and the drivers. Right, just waiting for everyone to ready up and pick their tyre selections again, and then we'll get going. just waiting for the ready up of the drivers now. Right, so once they get their setups and race strategy in, we'll get going as soon as. But whilst we're waiting, let's get the championship permutations out of the way. So what we've got, key points to look for this race, we have CSR, Pez, ROM, Lawn and James separated by 8 points. You've got Pez and Lawn on 126 apiece, and we've got James on 118. So James needs to outscore the other drivers by at least 4 positions to hopefully gain on them. And obviously between the top 2 of that battle, Lawn and Pez, whoever finishes ahead of the other one will finish ahead in the drivers. And then in the constructors again, like I said, we've got Mercedes leading McLaren by 19 points. So McLaren have to outscore Mercedes by 20 points to win the constructors. And then same sort of scenario for Racing Point over Ferrari, where it's 22 point deficit to Ferrari for Racing Point, and see if they can overhaul that deficit. Need a very good race from both the Racing Point drivers, and same for the McLaren drivers. So, but in other news, we're just about to get going, but in the Drivers' Championship, we've got RMB Ford. He's already sealed the title, ahead of Drazi, who is sealed second place. Tommy Reel is currently in 3rd, but only 19 points ahead of Pez. So hopefully Tommy Reel will have a decent race and he can maintain his 3rd in the drivers. And then after the battle for 4th, we have Lucky Lambert, the only other driver over 100 points. And then we have Thronhalf, who is sadly not with us today, in 8th. We've got Dacey and Yanni rounding out the top 10. Then you got Snipes, Westerns, Maitland, Ludlow, Celtic, Matthew Conabeer, Vettel, Cosme, Aki, El Pullen, D-Money, Stato, Shane, Dwaynesworth, Kama and Gvid, the final place in the drivers. And then constructors wise, we have AlphaTauri in 5th, and Renault, I've just noticed Renault and Alfa Romeo all separated by a point in the battle for 5th in the constructors, so that'll be a very interesting watch as well. And then you've got Haas on 105, Williams on 94 and Red Bull on 50. So as we come into the grid here, we've got B Ford on pole, followed by Pez on the front row, and then we got Westerns and Drazi row 2, D-Money, Tommy Reel on row 3, Lambert and James on row 4, Ludlow and Snipes on row 5. And outside the top 10 on free tyre choice, we have Lawn and Yanni on row 6, and row 7 we have Aki, AMG and CSR Maitland. Let's hope for a good race, boys. Let's hopefully have not as much chaos as the real Azerbaijan Grand Prix today. Mainly towards the end of the race, of course, but I won't go into details if anyone's not watched it, so... Yes, and as we've got people come to the grid now. Alright, let's hope for a good race, lads, and let's round out the Season 2 of the Republic of Motorsport with a brilliant race. Right, and we are ready to get going. Just wait for the lights. Here we go. 3, 4, 5. And looks like we're away. Looks like B Ford's got an okay start, but Pez has got a better one and jumps into the lead at turn 1. And Drazi's got a decent start as well. He's up from 5th to 6th to 5th. Possibly. Or has Tommy Real managed to back round the outside of him there? Not entirely sure. But let's see how this race pans out. Pez in front of B Ford. Going down to turn 3. And Pez holds on just from B Ford. Same behind, we've got Weston still holding on in 3rd. And Ludlow's up past Snipes at the start. I'll say ignore the timing sign as they're going a bit bananas right now. And Drazi's lost out to Lambert there in the middle sector. Going up to the castle. Back down to 6th place. Back to the battle at the front. We've got B Ford still hounding Pez. Pez holding on valiantly here at the start of the race. These two look like they're beginning to pull out a little gap on Weston's in 3rd, but obviously with the long straight that you have, Weston should be able to claw that back in, and is. See what any action up to turn 1 now. Right in the slipstream, can he get the job done going into turn 1, or Pez managed to hold on? It's very tight between the two of them, side by side into turn 1, but Pez holds the outside line and still maintains the lead. And B Ford hops in behind. And now Weston's writing on this action as well, on board with Weston's here. Going down into turn 3. Unable to get past, and there's slight contact there with B Ford. Pez still holds the lead. And so behind we've got, I'll say Lambert, Tommy Real, Drazi and James. I missed Lambert getting past Tommy Real there. But Lambert's having a very good start to this Grand Prix. So we've got Yanni and Aki just off the back here. Possible contact between the two. Pez maintains his lead out front from B Ford. So DRS will be activated after this lap is completed, so get a lot of action going down to turn 1 and turn 3. From this point on, all depends on people's setups and how much top end speed that they wanted compared to the middle sector. So we'll see. So we've got Drazi looking like he's going to be making a move on Tommy Real. And they're side by side over the line. And Drazi's on the inside, but Tommy Real holds on. So we've got a gap to Lambert now. Tommy Real and Lambert, the gap's over a second, so Tommy Real will be at risk from this lap onwards. Drazi just not close enough to make a move going into turn 3. And then we got that nice little bunch of cars. Then you have Snipes at the back end of the top 10. Just out of DRS range again, but Snipes is the first medium runner, I believe. Yes, he is. And then you got Maitland on the hards behind him, and then Lorne, Yanni, and Aki all on the medium. So essentially, everyone outside the top 10, including Snipes from qualifying, who qualified on the mediums, all on a long strategy at the start of this race. Same position change from the start. Got Maitland up 3 along with Lambert up 3. The biggest loser off the start was Dean Money, he's down 3. But most drivers, mainly one position change, so. Right, let's get back to the battle for the lead. We've got Rooney now with, not Rooney, B Ford now with DRS. Should be making a move into turn 1 on Pez, and does so. Pez hanging around the outside, but into the wall Pez goes. Oof. And that's got wing damage as well, so he'll be pitting soon. Probably a save for the hard tyre. Try and get to the end there. Oh. Possibly tried to hang it out and hang on in a position that was already lost. And then Westons and B Ford now battling out side by side. And that's brought Lambert right back into the mix here. On an absolute stormer at the start of this race is Lambert. And then we got Tommy Reel and Drazzy still side by side. Tommy Reel hangs on just from Drazzy, just before the castle. Oh, and Drazzy's in the wall at the castle. Has he got damage? Drazzy's pulled over. Possible damage to the Mercedes driver. Not sure either damage or he's just clipped the wheel. Can't tell from here at the minute. But we'll see if he's in the pit lane at the end of this lap. We've got Aki already in the pits. Getting into the pits in the wars. Bad news for the McLaren team in their battle for the Constructors' crown. But also, Mercedes having a bit of a nightmare in 10th and 12th at the moment, with Drazzy and Lorne not having good races at the minute. And Westons is making a move for the lead and is passed for the start-finish line. And Lambert could be on the move here as well if he gets close enough. And we've got Pez in the pits along with Tommy Reel. Early stoppers here, possible damage on them. And Drazzy is also in the pits, so yes, he did get damage as well from his clip in the castle. So we've got D-Money 4 seconds off the battle of the lead here, with James and Ludlow in close proximity. Then we've got Snipes doing a good job hanging on with those medium tyres. Will soon begin coming in on their own as the soft tyres begin to go off. And then Maitland is holding off the attentions of Lorne currently for P8. And Yanni now in the final point scoring position with Pez, Tommy Reel, Drazzy and Aki all making a pit stop in the early stages, most likely for damage. We'll see what tyre strategies they have gone on. We've got the hards for Drazzy, and we've got mediums for Pez, Tommy Reel and Aki. So Drazzy is intending more than likely to go to the end on those hards. Mediums I'm not too sure about. There'll be a bit of a push, but we'll see. So let's get back to this battle up front. We got Westons now ahead of B Ford still. B Ford making a move, going up to the line and back into the lead with Lambert just about hanging on at the moment. Doing a very good job in P3. Very good job. We've got James under threat from Ludlow, and Ludlow looks like he's made the move, and James is in the wall slightly. And Tommy Reel has retired from the session, and James has damage. Tommy Reel has crashed at the quick kink at the end of the lap, and we are under safety car conditions, so that will save James. He'll be into the pits for some mediums or hards, and a change of wing. That's bad news for Ferrari. Their only driver in this race is out of the session, so Ferrari will be scoring no points. So Racing Point now have the opportunity to claw back those 22 points in the Constructors if both drivers have good races from here on out. So with Weston's battling for the lead, that's a good 18 points currently. But James is dependent on where he drops with his wing change. Saying we've got the safety car and waiting to pick up all the drivers. And Drazi's been back into the pits again. He's put on the set of the medium tyre. We'll see how that sees him out. Let's see what we get the tyres on. We'll see what people change to. Saying we got Weston's. More than likely, Weston's going to the hard tyre. B Ford hards. Most drivers hard tyres here, so it all depends on what drivers think they can get to the end of the race here with 19 laps to go. So Pez is on the mediums, but don't know if they'll get to the end. It'll be a hard task for him, but he's back up into the race contention after this safety car, which is good news for him. I say Ludlow is on the hards, Lawn on the mediums, Maitland onto the mediums. So Lawn's back onto a new set of mediums, so probably having to stop again. Surprising, not gone onto the hards. Snipes is onto the soft tyre. Interesting call from the Renault driver. Then we got James on the hards. Literally everyone on hards. There are a couple of drivers who have chosen mediums, and Snipes on the soft. Everyone is squeaky clean so far in this race, which is good to see. Stops wise, everyone's only on one except for Drazi and Aki, who have both stopped the twice for strategic reasons after the safety car after damage. And I would hesitate to say we'll probably get going on the end of lap 8. Into the safety car, so let's hold tight, people, and we will get back to green very, very shortly. Let's just see on the race director as we're here. Anybody picking up any warnings so far? Obviously, James has got a 5-second penalty with a severe collision with Ludlow, but I think that was when he was squeezed off at turn 1. So we'll see if that gets removed at all. And then we have warnings for Tommy Reel and Aki for collisions, so no track limit warnings for either of those drivers. And then we got Pez, B Ford, Westons, Aki and James, all track limit warnings. Obviously Tommy Reel is out of the race, so his track limit warning doesn't really count at the moment, but right, hopefully half a lap more of a safety car and then we'll get back to green. Right, please, safety car, say that you will be coming in when we hit the second sector split line. We want some racing from these great drivers. Yes, safety car in this lap, so let's bring the action. So we've got, I'll say, with the field bunch back up now, that's good news for people like D-Money, who had started to fall away from the lead pack. We'll see what everybody manages to do now on these harder tyres, and we'll see when B Ford decides to hit the accelerator pedal and get this race back underway. And he has gone by the DRS line. Let's see what will happen by turn 1. I think he's got a good enough of a jump on Weston's. And we have D-Money, who looks like he has spun on the restart. Probable, yes, he has spun and got damage, so he's in the pit lane. And let's see what. And we got B Ford weaving to try and get some tyre temperature. And so we got Snipes just moving up ahead of Lawn there. It's not helping out Mercedes cause there for the Constructors' Crown. We still got B Ford out front, so at the moment that would mean McLaren have the Constructors' title due to the 19-point deficit being regained at the moment. At the moment we have Racing Point have 18 with Westons, and James has 2, so that's 20 points. So James needs a couple more places for Racing Point to overhaul Ferrari, who have no drivers left in this Grand Prix, with the only recipient being Tommy Real. B Ford has clawed out a second lead already on this restart, just doing what he needs to. But if Westons needs to get back into DRS range, if he wants this lead, but he's got to try and hold off the attempts of Lucky Lambert in third and Pez in fourth. Pez does have the medium tyre, and can he get it to the end is the question. We know Snipes is on the soft tyre and probably won't be going to the end, so hopefully we'll see some good overtakes from Snipes here. He's all over the back of Maitland here. Weston's just hanging on. He's just 1 second, just over the 1 second barrier. Just needs that couple more tenths, and then he's back in DRS range of Mr. B Ford, who's out in front. He gains a lot of time in the castle section. There's quite a train forming now behind Weston's. He needs to maintain this second place for the constructors if they want that bronze medal. He's got a lot of work to do to get back into B Ford's DRS and to hold off the attacks of the drivers behind. So coming up to the end of the second lap of racing, so we'll have DRS active at the start and finish line for the next lap. So Lambert is right on Weston's here. Weston's defending for all he is worth for this P2. So Drazzy is past James for 9th place. And look at this gaggle of cars. This is brilliant racing for the final podium places. With B Ford just out in front and gradually pulling away. Weston still hangs on to second. And Pez is up the inside of Lambert. Can he get the move done? He has, and he's squeezed into the wall by Weston's. Oh! And Lambert is looking like he's losing out here. Snipes is up the inside. Well, Lambert, hold on. He's trying his hardest, and he's lost out 2 places here, trying to get second place off Weston's. He's down to 5th, just ahead of Maitland now. And we've got a gap from these 7 drivers battling. So Drazzy in 9th and James in 10th. But B Ford is out front by 2.5 seconds and cruising for what would be another victory unless anything untoward happens. But as this is Azerbaijan, you never know what can happen. And Weston's still holding on to P2, but for how much longer? We've got Pez and Snipes on the charge on the different compounds of tyre. So Weston's could quite easily let them go and just see what will happen towards the end of the race, because he'll have better tyre wear going towards the end of the race than these 2 drivers. As Snipes and Pez did make contact there on the apex, but it's just like wheel to wheel, so they are both fine. No structural damage. And Weston's now just needs to, like to think, just cling onto the back of them and drag himself back up to B Ford. If he can. We've got Maitland also on a different strategy behind him, as is Lawn. So all these softer compound runners are making hay whilst the hard tyre runners get their tyres up to temperature. So Weston's is already outside of DRS range of Snipes, so got a lot of work to get back into the contention for the win of this race. And Pez and Snipes are eating into B Ford's lead. They've gained half a second since passing Weston's. So B Ford is now going to be under pressure in a few laps, you would say, with drivers on different tyre strategies. See how these different strategies pan out for these 2 drivers of Snipes and Pez. So we've got Maitland gaining on Weston's here. The move will more likely be done by the end of the home straight here, if he has enough ERS and DRS power to get it done. Weston's tries to hang on, but Maitland is round the outside and into the barrier and around with wing damage again. And we have another safety car. Maitland is not out of the race, but there is a lot of damage and a lot of debris at the pit exit, which is probably why we've had the safety car. No one has retired. We've got D-Money back into the pits, possibly for a tyre strategy call. And you'd probably see Snipes back into the pits as well for a new tyre strategy, but will everybody be in the pits for now medium tyres? Should easily see you to the end of this race. You got D-Money coming down a new set of mediums. Let's get the tyres up just to see what people do go on to if they do end up pitting. Say what does kind of neutralise the advantage that Snipes and Pez did have over B Ford, but we'll see what drivers do decide to go with if they do in fact pit. But to be fair, D-Money didn't have anything to lose at the back of the field there after his mistake at the start of the restart. First safety car that we had. First three drivers all into the pits. So we would assume they'd all be going to medium tyres. Let's say we've got Pez on mediums, B Ford on mediums, and Westerns has stayed out on his hard tyre. Interesting strategy call from Westerns. We'll see how this pans out. I'll say the last time he stayed out on a safety car was at Brazil. It didn't quite work out for him on that occasion, but it was after a longer stint on a different compounded tyre that he had to stay out, so all other drivers did have an advantage on him, but we'll see how this decision for him pans out. But everybody else is pitting, other than, I think Aki's pitted, but we've got severe collisions for him. Say the only man on a different strategy from the pit stops is Lorne, but then he had pitted twice for two mediums. He had two medium sets, so he had to go for the hard tyre. Or he could have gone for soft, but I don't think the softs can last 10 laps around Azerbaijan. But Snipes is back on a set of soft tyres, so he's in belief that they can go to the end. See how that pans out for him too. So we've got three drivers on differing strategies. And hopefully we'll get back to green as soon as the two Toro Rossos, well, not Toro Rossos these days, Alpha Tauris catch up to the back of the pack. So hopefully be going at the end of the next lap. Let's have a look at the race director again and see incidents that we've had since the last restart. We've got, obviously, that's from James. People have exceeded track limits again, but no one has incurred the 3-second time penalty just yet. But Aki and Maitland have both got a 5-second time penalty for severe collisions. See how this pans out towards the end of the race. I'm very intrigued to see if Snipes can get his softs to the end of this race. He'll be an absolute danger at the start of this race to everybody else on the harder compound, but we'll see if he can hold pace to the end of this race. Same out. Can keep his team in good stead, but as it stands with Weston's in P1 and James in P8, they're currently in possession of P3 in the constructors, and the same with Lorne up in 5th. Mercedes are holding off McLaren here, so B Ford needs to get back into the lead to give McLaren any chance of the constructors, with Aki in 10th place and a penalty warning under the safety car. So we'll see if he can maintain his position in the points. Hopefully we get back to green at the end of this lap and we can bring you a good 11 laps of racing to end out the season 2 of the ROM. And yes, we are safety car in this lap, so right boys, let's hope for a good clean last 10 laps of the season. And Mr. Westons, if you win this race, I expect to see RM at the start of your name for the following season as well. So I am cheering for you at this point. And Westons looks like he has gone. but he has not caught Mr. B Ford unawares. Snipes looks like he's making a move on Pez, and they are still side by side going to turn 3, but Snipes has the move done. And Maitland is up past Drazi and Aki into 10th. Let's see, can Snipes now take advantage of his soft tyres and get up to the lead of the Grand Prix? It's going to be an interesting scrap here. We've got Drazi up into 10th here. So we've had Yanni and Aki both make mistakes. Let's put the Mercedes driver back into 10th. On a bit of a torrid Grand Prix is Drazi after the form he's been in of late. But the top 5 here, sorry, top 4 separated by a blanket. You couldn't separate them. We have a yellow flag in sector 2. We've got a McLaren round in the barrier. So that will be Aki. And he is left. Oh, and B Ford's in the wall with contact from Pez. I think Pez either hit B Ford there, or I'm not entirely sure. Just caught the end of that. B Ford was in the wall, and that is going to help Weston's out an absolute treat. I've just realised we've lost Snipes too. Not entirely certain what happened to Snipes. I'm not sure if he's got damage at all, but possibly lost an end fence there, so it could have been him into the back of Mr. B Ford. We've got James in the pits and D-Money. So a lot of early action here going on. Weston's now with a 1.5 second lead over Pez and B Ford. Let's see if these two guys can catch back up to Weston's. We got Lambert right back on them again. So with Weston's now in the permutations for the championship of the Constructors, Weston's does need to hold on to this lead with his teammate now out of the points. We've got another yellow flag. Maitland and Drazi have had a collision in the castle. And a virtual safety car. We've got lots of drama going on in this race with Maitland now retiring from the session. Wonder where he's retired to. He looks like his car is still moving. He's just retired on track by the looks of things. The car is still trundling round looking at it, coming up to turn 15. On board with James here, who's just come in for softs. And there you see Maitland's car pulling off to the side. But still got the VSC in action. Or are we back to green here? I think we're back to full green. Yes, we are. Right, so Weston still leads from Pez and B Ford, with Lambert in close proximity. And James has got Drazi and Snipes, who have both pitted. Keep an eye on this battle. Oh, and B Ford has made a mistake, and he's hit the side of Pez. And Lambert is up to third, looking for second, and oh, look at this. We've got this huge battle on now for second place. And Weston's is just minding his own business out front, holding on to a 2.5 second lead now. Very entertaining stuff here for the minor podium places. say in this 5-car train we have Pez, Lambert, B. Ford, Lorna and Ludlow, who's having a very good race for the Alfa Romeo squad. The sole entry this weekend. And saying Pez has now got the gap down to 1.8 on Weston, so in a couple of laps we'll probably see a battle for the lead as James sets the fastest lap of the race with a 40.853 on his fresh set of softs, but I think that could well be beaten by other drivers at the lower end of the top 10 there, with Drazzy and Snipes, who have both boxed for fresh softs. I'm saying Lambert is falling away from Pez here, but Pez is now within a second of Weston's. See if Weston's can hang on. Pez has just pulled out an entire second on Lambert in a lap. So we've got a battle for the lead quicker than I was expecting. So we've got Yanni running all on his lonesome in 7th, so he's hoping for more drama ahead of him so he can catch up to the leading pack. And Pez cannot gain. On Weston's in a straight line at the minute. Gap is down to 0.2 of a second, so possibly a move coming. Up to turn 3, DRS active for Pez. Will it be happening? Weston's goes to the inside line. Pez tries to go around the outside, and Weston's gives him room. Very sporting of Weston's there. Whoa, bit squirrely off the exit of turn 4 there from Weston's, but he's through, as B. Ford is also through on Lambert as well. Saying Weston's is now lost a lot of ground there to Pez, and B. Ford in the space of a few corners. He's going to have B. Ford right behind him going on to the main straight here. Pez is checking out in front. Got a 1.5 second lead now on Weston's, with B. Ford in DRS range. Closing with the DRS wing wide open. Is it going to be enough for turn 1? Probably not. Not quite enough for B. Ford to get up into second, but possible move on the next lap or at the end of this next straight incoming. And all the time Weston's is losing time to Pez ahead. Gap is now over 2 seconds. Doesn't help B. Ford in his battle for the lead with Pez. Lambert is just about clinging on in the background, along with Ludlow and then Lorne as well. We've got Yanni slowly closing in. Gap's just now under 4 seconds, but then we've got all the people that have pitted after this previous safety car on the soft tyres, apart from Aki, who appears not to be here. Yes, we will focus on the battle for second here, with Weston's now gap over 3 seconds to Pez. Can B Ford make a move going up to turn 1? He looks, you'd say he's close enough here to make the move. Just coming up to the DRS line, and he's right there. You'd like to say he's going to be past Weston's before too long. And he's passed by turn 1. Now can Weston's fight back? So Weston's with the DRS, just cannot quite get the move done. And B Ford now needs to make hay in the middle sector with his fresher rubber to get outside of the DRS window of Weston's. And I think Weston's might be fighting a losing battle from here on in, with most drivers behind him on fresher and softer rubber. Oh, and B Ford's made another error. That will help Weston's out a treat if you want for DRS. He's just about in range, is Weston's, for DRS. Got to keep in touch out of this final corner. Then just before the kink is where the DRS detection line is. Was it just after? I can't quite remember. It's just after. It's here. Is he within a second? He is. Can he make a move by turn 1? Or turn 3 if he can stay close enough? Not quite close enough at turn 1 is Weston's. So let's get on board with the Racing Point driver. See if he can make a move going down into turn 3. Not looking close enough for Weston's. I think he just used it all up just in the attempt to make one move stick there at the end. I think unless B Ford makes another error, that could be it for Weston's. But we've got 3 laps to go, plus the one we're on. And so we've also got Ludlow now ahead of Lambert. Oof, look at that, Weston's is desperately trying to keep in touch with B Ford. He knows what's on the line if he can get second place in this race. But I think he's now just too far back, and I don't think he's got enough rubber left on those hards to mount an effort onto B Ford. But he's now got to make sure he can cling on to the podium place from Ludlow, who's having a stellar race for Alfa Romeo. I'm saying Lambert's having a very good race for himself. And P5 as well. And Yanni is gradually gaining on the battle ahead. And a 3-second penalty for Weston's. He's cut too many corners. He's the first driver to pick up a warning here. Track extended too much on the entry to turn 1. That's the possible podium shout out the picture now. But he's got to keep pushing on, because you never know what will happen behind. And B Ford is gradually gaining in on Pez, but I don't think it'll be enough by the end of this race. So we got Lambert. Lawn is the closest battle to Lambert here. Closest battle on track we have currently, with a few laps to go. See if Lawn on his harder tyres can... They've probably started coming into their own now. the medium's beginning to go off. So Yanni is still having a brilliant race. He's catching up those 4, he's caught up half of those 4 seconds, but I think he's just going to run out of laps to mount a challenge. So is Lorne close enough here on the home straight to make a move on Lambert? Possibly not this time round. Oh, he is. He's actually made it stick. I didn't think it was going to happen. Saying Lambert now, can he get him the move done going down to turn 3, or will he just save up all his electric energy for a charge on the next lap for the last second to last DRS straight? Second to last DRS straight for the last lap anyway on the home straight. We've got Drazi in the pits now. He's outside the top 10. Not entirely sure what that's about. Lambert, can he cling on, or has he just ran out of tyres at this late stage? I think he may well have ran out of tyres, because Yanni is on an absolute charge here at the end of this race. He is absolutely flying. Saying Ludlow, can he make it? Doesn't need to make an impact on Westerns because of the 3-second penalty that he has picked up. But you'd like to think he would love to do it on track for that podium. So the next close battle is Yanni. Look, is all over the back of Lambert here. I think a move may well be being done at the first corner here, if Yanni's got enough momentum. And he's around the outside, and he's got it done. Can Lambert make any inroads on the final lap now? He's got this DRS straight and the whole of the middle sector to recharge the battery for one final attack. Coming up to the line as we're now on the final lap. This race, we've got Snipes now going past James, with Dean Money in close attendance as well. Great battle here for the final points. And we got James around the outside. Has he made it stick? He has made it stick on Snipes, or is Snipes going to try and hang it round the outside? With Dean Money finding nowhere to go, and Snipes does hang on. Dean Money is looking ever menacing behind them. Let's come back to the race leader, CSR Pez. He has had a stonking race since the restart, second restart. And he's coming up to the line to clinch victory in the final round of ROM Season 2. And here he comes across the line for victory with B Ford second. Westerns will come across the line in third, but I believe Ludlow will have it. And then we've got Yanni. Could not make any impact on Lorne, but has made his way past Lambert on the final lap, which we saw. And then we've got the final battle as James is out of the session. James has lost it in the final. We've had contact, I believe, with him and D-Money, which will mean Drazi will be getting the final point and possibly fastest lap to go with it. And then we just wait for... We're just waiting here for Drazi to cross the line, and then that should be the race done. And is. And driver of the day of Lorne. Right, let's get now. Hopefully, see how many drivers from the top 3 we can get into this party and see how their races went. As Pez picks up the winner's trophy. Right, let's see if we can get the top 3 in. I'll say, if you are joining, guys, remember to include your audio. That is absolutely fine, just making sure. I like to see if all the podium finishers will join, but as you're here, Mr. Ford, we'll crack on with yourself. Well, from your point of view, it was a very, I suppose, as we call it, a very entertaining race with a few incidents here and there for yourself. Let's just explain from your point of view how your race went and how the incidents panned out for yourself.
A shocking start when I was P2. I did have contact with Pez, but I don't think I did much. I think it was just, Pez might have lost it. I know I lost the car a little bit, so I might have hit his line, but I don't know if I did much from there. And then then I was P1. First stage car comes out, good restart. And then second stage car comes out, it all goes wrong, really. I heard sounds, I can't manage to overtake him, and then I just completely missed my brake and hit Pez, but luckily I got damaged, and luckily he didn't get any weather. So.
Yeah. Yes, I was going to say there was a few late braking incidents. I think you got one from Pez
Snipes.
On the second race. Was it Snipes? It was Snipes or Pez. I couldn't remember who was behind you at the time. Yeah, and then you did the same to Pez like a lap or two later. It was just like slight misjudgments on the braking, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Well,
you'd say.
Yeah, it's lack of practice, really. From this week to
lack of practice. But at least I will say this: we've managed to match the chaos of Azerbaijan in real life online. So it was a very entertaining race to watch from my point of view, and I think from your point of view, I think your McLaren team possibly just missed out on the constructors' crown as well.
Yeah, we missed out
due to just from a bad race from teammate Aki, and well, Lorne and Drazi were having a bit of a nightmare of a race, but they seemed to manage to claw it back at the end.
Yeah.
Just to clinch it off you, but yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Ford. Congratulations on the championship once again.
Thank you very much.
And just as you're here, I'm going to ask, will there be any more action from the league on F1 2020, or will the league be waiting till the release of 2021?
There'll be one more non-championship race that we'll announce soon.
Okie doke. Yeah, alright, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming after that it'll be waiting for the new game, and then waiting on yourself and the other owners to decide when the league will kick back into action again, I'm assuming.
Exactly, yeah. It'll be in the news.
Good. Excellent news. And on that note, I'll just say thank you to everyone for watching the Republic of Motorsport on Formula 1 2020, and we look forward to the exhibition race as such, as I like to call it, and we will see you for more league racing on F1 2021.